Welcome back. As we continue the Aspen and Alice Black interview, we'll pick up where they've traveled out west. So here we go.
I watch the moon rising on the mountain, memories silhouetted in the trees, stars by the thousands above me.
Welcome to T-Bone's Best of Roanoke show. Music, comedy, and conversation featuring HB, the Honey Badger.
Honey Badger don't care.
Now, on with the show.
Have you ever been to a place called Truth or Consequences?
Oh,
in
yeah.
Mexico?
Oh, we love Truth or Consequences.
Yeah.
I have a song that was written about it.
People are not going to believe this, HB. There is a town called Truth or Consequences.
I did not
in
know
Mexico.
that. No.
There is.
So tell us just a little bit about that, why you like it.
You
Well,
want to talk about this.
I love it because of all the hot mineral baths there. It's a true hidden gem. Many things nowadays have been exploited into commercialism, and when you get out west, one of the big things that you notice is all the commercialism in the east is not nearly as prevalent out west. So where in the east we would expect many chain stores and fast food places and restaurants, and that takes up most of the commercial aspect of any town or city, with a few mom and pops and independents. When you get out west, there are many towns you're hard pressed to find a single chain anywhere, and so you're dealing with many independents. So Truth or Consequences is literally one of those towns. There may be a couple of chain things on the edges of town, but when you get into that town, there's nothing but just, it's like stepping back in time in what I'd imagine maybe the 50s or 60s to be like. They have these wonderful hot mineral baths and spas all over the town, except they haven't been exploited to be for only the rich and famous people or for resort type things. You can literally just pay a couple bucks and go soak in the hot tubs. There's one, Riverbend Hot Springs, right on the edge of the Rio Grande. And if you can just imagine a complex of, what would you say, Alice, 5, 6, maybe more tubs there. And they literally are different temperatures, all between, say, 95 and 105 degrees. They're all fed from the natural springs below the town. And so you are soaking in hot water that's freshly fed right from the ground.
Oh, wow.
It's not like going to a motel or something where they maintain their own hot tub and spa.
Right.
And it feels different. It literally, after an hour, we left there, I was so relaxed, I thought, man, I have to drive to Lubbock, Texas after this. So I was like, oh gosh. So yeah. And it feels different than the springs in, say, Thermopolis, Wyoming, where I was recently.
Thermopolis? Wyoming?
Thermopolis, Wyoming. We just did a tour out in that area. Carrie and I did that tour in September. And again, another town that's comes up from those hot springs, but a different feel. A lot of sulfur in that water, where you're not getting that in the New Mexico springs. So just, if it feels different, it gives you a different type of relaxation. But they called it the healing waters down in Truth or Consequences. So I actually started writing a song called The Healing Waters, which ended up being the song that my second Creed ukulele is named after. It's called The Healing Waters. So
And in that song, Aspen, is there a way to work in consequences, that word?
No.
Is that too much?
I have not tried to do that rhyme yet.
Well, you keep working.
I might write you a song with it, though, if I could come up with it one
Please
day.
do. And I know, based on my research, while you were in New Mexico, you happened to play, I believe, in a little town called Roswell.
I did.
Now, so you are confirming that. So,
Roswell does exist,
Okay,
and there are not all aliens walking
What?
up and down the street.
all right, now, let's just, no one's really listening to this, Aspen.
Oh my.
So you could tell us the skinny on Area 51.
Well, I didn't actually go out there. I did go through the White Sands missile range a few times.
Yeah, and what'd you see?
Not a whole lot. A lot of signs that said they were going to close it down certain times to fire off missiles. Saw a lot of tracking centers, if you would, that would monitor where those missiles are. But it was a little disconcerting to be on the highway going through there, and highways out there are just 2-lane roads in a lot of cases. And knowing I was going to be on that for miles and miles and miles through this missile range, and you just never know if something's going to go awry. So that was a little odd, but again, I had a schedule to keep, and so I went on.
You went on, and you've played Roswell, but saw no aliens.
I did not, but there's a lot of alien lore out there. They've really capitalized on it. A lot of shops that have many different alien themed things, artwork with alien themes. Even the McDonald's, Alice went
It's like a little alien
burger
playground thing.
Playground.
Now, an alien burger would be quite interesting, though.
Alien fries.
There you go. You never know.
Okay, I got to go there too, HB.
Yeah.
So we'll plan a trip to Truth or Consequences in Roswell.
Yep, you could easily do them together.
Okay. Well, now while you're on the road like that, you've mentioned before, Aspen, that sometimes when you're driving, like you're driving to Lubbock after the soaking your feet, do you get a writing process or things come to you in your brain?
Oh gosh, yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, you know, there's always a knee-jerk reaction when you get in the car to maybe be hungry or want coffee. I've heard a lot of people say that. Mine ends up being to write songs and poems. So it doesn't really matter how far I'm driving. It could be a long 8-hour drive, 10-hour drive somewhere. It could be simply from my farm to town, and I can't even get out of the road that leads right out of the farm before I have an idea. So there's something about driving that I think it puts my mind at ease. I don't turn on the radio when I drive. I kind of have a joke with myself that I'm making my own radio in my head. And there's something just about that passive concentration that goes on when you're driving, that I'm aware of everything around me. I'm, very mindful of all the sights and sounds and other traffic and such, but I end up having ideas just hit me. It's almost like a magnet. When I'm in the car, that butterfly net effect increases tenfold. And one memorable time recently was driving out of Atlanta. The funny thing is it always hits at the wrong time when you get good inspiration. So imagine, for those of you who have been in Atlanta and you know what the traffic is like in Atlanta. I'm on 75 headed north out of Atlanta, 6 lanes across, everybody going 80 or more miles an hour, diving in and out of each other. So definitely not the time that you want to be distracted, even for singing into your phone. You need your hands on the wheel, you need your focus. All of a sudden, here comes a song just flying at me. And I'm like, no, I need to ignore this. I need to drive.
Put it on pause, Aspen.
Right, exactly. Put life on pause. Everyone stop. Aspen needs to write a song.
Pull over, please.
Yeah, you couldn't. I was literally in the middle lane out of the 6. As everything merges together, they kind of put you where they put you, and I'm not going to get off of this highway for any given time because it's just crazy traffic until it peters out much more north of Atlanta. And so I start scribbling down this song on receipts and feed tickets and whatever else I had. And I remember putting it on my thigh, which is about the only place I can reach over and find a writing surface.
Scratch on something. Yeah.
And I'm scribbling down these cursive words, and I'm thinking to myself, there is no way in the world you're going to be able to read this when you get home. And I thought, my goodness. But it ends up that I was able to decipher at least 3/4 of it and turned it into a song. It's one that I'm still working on editing. This was back in either April or May of this past year, and I plan to use this in my program in March for a high school program for the humanities in Kansas.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Well, so like when you're driving in the car, that's like your personal lab.
Absolutely.
Your music lab.
It
where
is.
You create songs.
It is. It's the creative zone.
Wow. By the way, just a FYI to you, Alice, Mother's Day is coming up. And you might want to get one of those little recorders. You could stick
Yeah.
in your pocket and just push a button and record anytime.
Oh yeah.
Eliminate that pencil and paper.
That's the problem. I have them, and I keep forgetting to bring them back out of the house when I transfer the songs over onto paper.
And I
So-
gotta buy one just to leave in your car for you.
How
Yeah,
about
just
like
have it
2?
hanging from the
Yeah,
windshield.
just-
Rear window. Yeah, there you go.
Give me 10 of them, and maybe there'll be a chance.
Keep them all charged.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right.
Going back to your travels out west, are there any favorite venues? You know, we've mentioned some of the towns you've been to and some of the states.
Or the states, yeah, that's what I want to know. 'Cause I've only been to a couple states out west.
Oh,
By-
gosh,
and by the
yeah.
way, I noticed you did not mention as a favorite state West Virginia, where I come from. Have you ever been there?
Oh, yeah.
We have and have played there. So
Could
played
you-
in Fairmont, West Virginia
Oh, yeah.
a few years ago.
Yeah.
Sagebrush. I'm not sure what they call that. Whether it's a concert venue, a very large hall that's all done up with a cowboy western country sort of theme on the stage, but it's definitely a large concert hall type venue with also seating. So I think there's a place to buy some dinner back there, and that's in Fairmont. So a nice.
Very
nice little
good.
place to
Okay, so
play.
you have been there. You have been to the mountaintop.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
very good.
We've skied in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right, and you made it
go.
back.
yes, well, she skied. I only
Okay.
have a name that sounds like skiing. I don't ski.
Yeah.
And are you named after the city in Colorado? It's an
Yes.
have you ever heard that question before?
Yes, it's a John Denver thing.
Oh, okay. Very
Uh-huh.
neat. But some of the favorite venues out west.
Oh,
Before I move
goodness.
Oh. China. Think back through all of them that I've played in.
Well, I'll lead up a couple.
Yeah, you
and,
go first.
And you be thinking. For me, I would say the historic Homestake Opera House in Leeds, South Dakota, is probably the top of my list because of the building itself. It's early 1900s, I would say around 1910 to 1915 vintage. And the thing that strikes me about this particular building, it's a large theater type setup where you stand on the stage, and first off, the stage is probably 3 stories up to the ceiling, and you can see all the way up there. So you feel about 2 inches tall, maybe less. So you're looking up going, oh my gosh, and it's very wide. So you're out there as a solo act, and you're thinking, wow, there's just me and all of this air.
Vast, yeah.
But the cool thing is when you look out, there's the first section of seating which goes up, much like a large movie theater on an angle. And then they have the balcony up behind that with another section of seating. But on the sides, they have the boxes for the box seating. And the unique thing is they still have the original cloth shrouds, if you would, that are swagged over the boxes, and then some curtain areas hanging over those boxes. And it literally, when you're standing on stage, you could imagine yourself in 1915 singing to these ladies and men dressed in period attire, and
Grover Cleveland.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so amazing to be in that space. So for me, that's one of my best memories.
Neat, yeah.
Alice, do you have one?
A library in Dubuque, Iowa. It's a Carnegie library, so it's like
Ooh.
all beautiful and old looking, and it is actually like super awesome. And we played a library program there, actually like 3 of them there, and
there.
it was just really awesome.
Well, speaking of libraries, I know you guys last summer you did a summer reading program,
Yes.
right? At
Yes.
was it Raleigh Court Library, or was it several
yeah,
places?
Well, Raleigh Court's one place we played. That was actually a winter reading program.
Winter reading,
That
okay.
was in February, so almost about a year ago to this day almost would be the week that we played here in Roanoke. 6 different branches of the Roanoke City Library system.
Well, tell us about that,
Okay.
and then are you going to be doing that again?
Oh, yeah. In different libraries, yes, all over the place. But we do, one of the facets of our music are programs for younger people. And we actually run the gamut of programs from the very young through senior adults. So we have many different programs available in addition to our concerts, which are general admission type concerts. So the library programs are very educational, interactive programs. So we get the kids clapping, singing, moving, dancing, thinking, and creating in all of these programs. So it's a very high energy program. The kids rarely have time to sit still. We actually have to plan it with a couple slower songs that they can catch their breath on in between some of the dancing songs. So there are themed programs each year. The libraries have a national theme that they put out for summer reading. And summer reading is approximately June through the end of July or early August, depending on the particular library system. They largely get grants for bringing in performers and speakers and people from museums or anywhere that will put on educational or entertaining programs. There is generally that theme that they stick to, so we write a different program for every year's theme. And last year the theme was actually played perfectly into us because it was called Libraries Rock, and they were talking about rock music. But many of the librarians broadly interpreted this as music. So we took that program and we did what we called the Singing Cowgirls, which is again a program that gives children an overview of the historical rise of the West, if you would, and then brings you on up into modern cowboying and cowgirling. So it's just a really neat program where they understood quite a lot of different phases of history and still had a lot of fun moving and dancing and role-playing to that.
The ages of the kids in this program, what would that be?
Averaging from toddlers to about 5th grade. That's our target. But again, they often come with their parents or grandparents. So I would say our average crowd is maybe 80 to 180 is generally what we play for. If you've ever seen hundreds, I did the program in Wyoming, in Casper, Wyoming, with a school. And if you can imagine 300 kids in the gym, and they're all line dancing to my cowgirl rap. So if you can just imagine that. Nobody got hurt, no one trampled anyone, they all had a good time for 3.5 minutes dancing the cowgirl rap. So
the cowgirl rap, HP.
That's right.
Now,
look for that one.
The connection to the library, is there, were you a librarian at one time?
No, not at all.
No,
no actual connection to the library other than it's a natural fit. My mentor, Carrie Grombacher, has been performing largely adult concerts and doing writing workshops at libraries for over 20 years. And I really had not been aware of that venue as a place that was a natural fit for our cultural and historical Western music. But when I started working with him in 2014, he shepherded me to several libraries and showed me the process from booking these libraries to arriving, to setting up things, to making the right connections with people, to following up properly after the gig. He's very, very thorough, very good at what he does. And I think had I not had that hands-on experience, I would figure my way out eventually. But I would never have been able to jump in and be able to deliver the caliber of programs I'm doing. It became very obvious when I started going with him to the libraries and doing the adult programs that there was a need for children's programs. Some of the librarians have mentioned, oh, do you do kids shows? And I thought, what's that? And I found out very quickly. And I said, yes, I do, because I worked in the public schools. So to me, that was a great fit as well.
Well, Alice, you mentioned you do covers sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you ever take like requests? Here's one I'd like for you to think about for the future.
Okay.
Johnny Cash, I've Been Everywhere Man.
We know people who do
I know
that.
a lot of people who do that song, and
Can you say all those words like he does?
I
I've
don't think my mouth can actually do that. But
no, Kristen Harris can do that. We can do that.
Well, you can
try.
practice. Keep trying. Keep practicing. And as when we close the show today, you two will do a duet for us, I hope, of the Byrds' Turn, Turn, Turn.
Yes.
So before we get to that, just tell us a little bit about what your future plans are. Where do you go from here? Where can people buy your music? And are you going to be playing anywhere in the Roanoke area?
Yeah, where can you be seen?
Well, on May 10th, I'll be playing an opening act right here at 3rd Street for Briz, a Neil Young tribute. And so I'll be playing all my 60s folk songs. He'll be playing like Neil Young songs. So if you like folk music, you should definitely come out May 10th.
I've been searching for a heart of gold.
So,
May 10th, okay, 3rd Street Coffee House, okay.
That's
very
right,
good.
May 10th for her. And otherwise, I'll be going on tour again in March in Kansas. So don't think our listeners can come all the way out to Kansas to see me. But that's the humanities program out there in Kansas. Both a whole week of that as well as some libraries. And then we have our summer reading tour coming up again in June. Last year took us to Northern Virginia, Ohio, Iowa, Texas, and New Mexico. This year we're going to focus a lot on North and South Carolina because they actually tried to get on our list last year and many of them could not. And so we're working there this year and then out to Texas for a camp with her. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up, recording projects going on, so all sorts of stuff going, but you can visit our websites if you'd like to purchase our music or just hear more of it, either stream or download there.
And your website is?
I have aspenblackmusic.com.
Okay.
And Alice is
AliceBlackMusician.com.
.com. Okay. Well, I'll give you two the last word. This has been so much fun. Any other things we left out or you want to highlight before we close up shop here at 3rd Street Coffee House?
Well, Aspen, you've won awards or something?
Yes, we've actually both won several awards. So she's got a couple of CD awards, some songwriting awards, and I've won CD awards with the Rural Roots Music Commission for both of my last CDs, Eastern Western Cowgirl and Love in the West, that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I've been the top 5 female poet for the International Western Music Association for 4 years running now.
Your poetry CD is Tales from the Road.
Yes, my poetry CD is Tales from the Road, and it's currently sitting in number 2 for the airplay for the second quarter. So it's been up there about 6 months, holding steady in the number 2 position. Wow. So we're really excited about that. So yeah, just lots of stuff, but mostly we just like to share our music and love people who will listen to what we have to say, and
I look forward to it.
Enjoy that.
And if you're on 581 and you're driving your car next to Aspen and Alice and you see something going on in their heads, pull over.
That's right.
They got a song going on.
Haven't done it yet, but watch out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you both so much for being on T-Bone's Best of Roanoke show. This has truly been one of our best shows. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you asking us.
You know, we're recording on Valentine's Day, and a lot of times we think about love as being love between two partners, the romantic kind of love. But there's also love that goes on between family members supporting one another, friends reaching out to each other. And one of my good friends, Marion McConnell, of course, is doing that all the time at the rescue mission with her team there, reaching out to people who she doesn't even know, and yet extending that love to those people. And oftentimes those people who need love the most feel that they're the most unlovable. And so this song is one that I wrote for those who are feeling unlovable. It's called Wonderful. Standing by your window, watching brown leaves swirl around. Then walking down the street, dirty broken glass on the ground. the blinds and back away. Showers all around can save us for a rainy day. You're living in a reverie of loneliness and artistry, dodging fears. Slash the mirror, wipe the tears. But there's something more behind those eyes, something beautiful beneath that disguise. A storybook, a sweet surprise. That's all I long to know. You're wonderful, let it show. I can't concede that you can be just the empty shell I see, with rumpled hair and glasses on, turning pages chasing dawn. 'Cause there's something more behind those eyes, something beautiful beneath that disguise. A storybook, a sweet surprise. That's all I long to know. You're wonderful, let it show. Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. Wow.
Alice up here.
All
I
right.
miss Alice.
Since it's Valentine's Day, I'll do a love song, albeit not a happy love song, but you know, still a love song nonetheless. This is Diamonds and Rust by Joan Baez. Okay?
Oh, for having us on your show today, T-Bone's Best of Roanoke show. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. We're going to close out on a song that's one of Alice's favorites. What is that?
This is Turn, Turn, Turn.